Hey guys, it's Celestia, and I'm gonna open this whole thing off with a half-hearted apology for the fact that for at least 6 more videos, this is gonna be a Genshin Impact fan art channel now. At least when all of my speed paints were League of Legends characters, I had the decency to feel bad enough to sprinkle in other art too, but I don't now. My life has been overtaken by this game, and I literally have at least 6 more sketches prepared to be drawn in my upcoming videos, and you guys are just gonna have to accept that. Anyway, before we get into today's topic, which is toxicity and cancel culture in the art community, as was voted for on Twitter, let me take a brief moment of your time to tell you about my giveaway for a Vake VK1200 drawing monitor. If you've watched any of my recent videos, you've definitely heard me refuse to shut up about it, so here I go again. But the giveaway's winner will be drawn on April 1st, so I just wanted to bring it up at least one more time, because if you want to win it, you're running out of time to enter. Which you can do by going to my Why Artists Hate Being Called Talented video, listening to the first couple minutes if you want info on the tablet and the giveaway, and then commenting, "This ramen is my girlfriend," as well as how you'd like to be contacted if you win. I'll link that video in the card above and the description of today's video, so please check it out if you're interested. Alright, moving on to what you're all here for, let's talk about toxicity and cancel culture in the art community. Now, as a disclaimer, I'm 100% maintaining my stance of never mentioning or addressing specific people or dramas, so if you're here to hear me talk about anyone or anything in particular when it comes to recent events and scandals, you're gonna be disappointed. While recent dramas in the art community are the reason I'm making the video, I'll be discussing this topic without talking about them or involving myself in them needlessly. Additionally, the points made in this video for the most part pertain to the art community on YouTube and Twitter, so if you're looking for commentary that's more applicable to the general art community outside of that, I made another video called My Problems with the Art Community that discusses all kinds of different hot takes. Actually, if you're here to hear about cancel culture and toxicity, there are some relevant points about that in that video as well, which this video sort of elaborates upon, so I'd suggest giving that one a watch beforehand. So let's open up this discussion with one of the most important distinctions, in my opinion, which is the difference between accountability and cancel culture. Because the biggest argument that I've heard in defense of cancel culture is that all it really is holding a creator accountable for their actions, and I fundamentally disagree with that. To be clear, I'm a huge advocate of holding creators and public figures accountable for their actions, which is precisely why I hate this argument, because that's not what cancel culture actually does. To hold a creator accountable when they do a bad thing, we, the audience, need to be making a judgment on what they've done, based on facts and proof, and we need to be doing something productive with that information. What I mean by that is to examine exactly what we're doing to hold them accountable. Like boycotting them and their content, refusing to support them, spreading information about what they've done, or even advocating for deplatforming or legal repercussions when applicable. Those are all ways to hold a creator accountable for their actions. But cancel culture rarely actually turns out that way. What should be facts and information pertaining to what the person has actually done wrong becomes unsubstantiated claims and misinformation. And the way that the creator is held accountable becomes less of boycotting their content and more of sending them harassment and hate. So, to me, the most fundamental difference between accountability and cancel culture is how constructive versus destructive it is. Constructive accountability is defined by bringing unbiased and factual, informative attention to the matter, therefore bringing the creator's wrongdoings to light. Constructive accountability is spreading that information so as to stop supporting that creator, and therefore helping others to make their own judgment and decision as to whether or not to do the same. Destructive cancel culture, on the other hand, is defined by spreading false or unsubstantiated proof with either malicious intent or just poor research, and by harassing the creators involved and sending them hate. Destructive cancel culture is exactly the kind of toxicity that I have a problem with, because it accomplishes nothing other than furthering negativity and potentially doing real harm to real people. And I have even more of a problem with it than I otherwise would have, because it diminishes the significance and impact of actual constructive accountability, which I very strongly believe in. So why do we do this? Why is cancel culture such a prominent issue in the art community right now? Well, not only can I obviously not say for sure, but the reasons that I can contribute for consideration are really only scratching the surface. Even so, I do have some thoughts, or else I probably wouldn't be here making a video about it. So first of all, I believe that one of the strongest motivations behind cancel culture right now is anonymity. And that's not just applicable to the art community, but the entirety of the internet. The anonymity that the internet offers its users makes everyone that's spreading this toxicity and cruelty feel safe from consequences or personal responsibility. And they kind of are safe from that. Obviously there are exceptions, but for the most part, there's really no consequence to sending a nasty tweet telling a creator involved in a scandal to hurt themselves or that they're scum. There's nothing attaching that tweet to their real lives because they're anonymous. And it's so sad to see that when given anonymity, the majority of society chooses to be so malicious and cruel with it. It makes a person wonder if that's the true face of humanity, when we're not worried about consequences or what people will think about us, just unimaginably cruel without consideration for how hard our words will hit the very real people that they're directed at. I don't know if that's the case, but it's certainly disheartening and disappointing to see the prevalence of it either way. And in my opinion, this anonymity also contributes to how easy it is for people to judge creators involved in dramas. Because as anonymous people on the internet, we don't have to worry about being called out for our own hypocrisy. If the creator you're sending hate to is being criticized for their lies, for example, it's very easy for us to lean on anonymity and criticize them for it, even when we've all done the same things, because their lies are publicized for everyone to see, and ours are hidden behind closed doors. It's just so easy to judge someone for doing something you've also done, when you know that no one knows that you've done it too, and no one will call you out for it. Another contributing factor to cancel culture, in my opinion, is the herd mentality that's so closely intertwined with it. The whole idea of, well, if everyone's saying it, it must be true. And especially in the YouTube and Twitter art communities, this is a huge problem, because recent events have very clearly shown that the moment a drama is brought to light, everyone and their dog is going to make a video with the exact same take on it, spreading an identical narrative. And once that identical narrative has been accepted as the complete and correct truth of the matter, there's almost a feeling of safety in numbers when attacking the creator that's considered to be in the wrong, because everyone is doing it, and everyone is on one side, so they must be right and justified. Another related thing I've noticed as a result of recent dramas is that over time, the narrative that's accepted as the truth almost seamlessly adjusts itself to accommodate new information. When it's proven that there's more than just one side to things and new information is brought to light, you'll find that the same people that were calling the creator scum 1 minute ago are now making videos or tweets of a much more forgiving, understanding nature because the general consensus and narrative around the drama has become more sympathetic to them. It feels like people aren't even bothering to examine or research the full stories of these dramas to begin with. They'll just accept the majority opinion as the truth and then adjust their stance as the majority opinion changes. And while I guess it's all well and good to change from that aggressive, accusatory stance to a more forgiving one as new information is brought up, you could always just research it all objectively to begin with. Because while it's easy for you to just accept that you were wrong or too harsh, it's a lot harder for the creator that just received an influx of hate and harassment and might have even had their career impacted. Saying, hey, guess I was wrong about that creator, I'll support them again, after sending them horrifyingly cruel messages and effectively trying to destroy them, is easy for you, but it doesn't erase the damage that was done to the individual that was targeted. It's genuinely alarming to me how easily the herd mentality leads the entire community to adopt one opinion on a drama, and then seamlessly shift into another without taking any responsibility for the fact that the first correct opinion led to horrendous bullying and harassment of a creator who they're now deciding to view more favorably. Next on the list of why cancel culture is running so rampantly throughout the community is somewhat related, and it's the worryingly cutthroat mentality of creators. Like the moment someone is under fire for potentially doing something wrong, people don't even wait to hear the whole story before they've churned out their own video about why this person is the absolute worst person alive. Recent events have done nothing if not show me that a large part of the community is just willing to throw their own peers under the bus at the slightest provocation. And whether it be for the sake of clout chasing and furthering their own careers or something less intentionally malicious, this is a problem. Drama is being seen as nothing more than entertainment to be capitalized on, and this nonchalant attitude towards ruining another person's life before even knowing for sure that they're in the wrong is genuinely terrifying. And because drama is a tried and true way to get views and attention, creators are just constantly put under a microscope and examined, because everyone is just waiting for the next person to do the slightest thing wrong so that they can profit off of it. This subsequently results in miscommunications and minor offenses being blown out of proportion and turned into actual scandals, even when the original issue could have and should have been resolved privately without bringing it to the attention of the internet. Finally, the last reason that I speculate to be a huge motivation of cancel culture is, and I did mention this in the previous video as well, a disconnect between a creator's identity as a public figure and who they actually are. When you watch someone's videos and either put them on a pedestal or look down on them, up to you I guess, you aren't seeing them as a real person, you're seeing them as a public figure. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that in and of itself, but a problem arises when that creator is thrown into a whirlwind of drama because they're not being judged as a human being who makes mistakes, but a borderline celebrity that that's being held to a much higher standard than we hold ourselves and our peers to. We expect more of people when we look up to them, and when we put someone on a pedestal, they become inherently separate from us. We stop seeing them as someone we can relate to, and therefore someone who does dumb stuff just like we do, but rather as someone who should, from our perspective, be perfect, or at least as close to it as possible. It also stops us from seeing them as a human being who can be hurt by the insults and hate thrown at them as a result. We don't see the aftermath of cancel culture. We don't see the damage that's done to the creators who fall victim to it, and we don't see how much it hurts them because we don't really see them as people. But cancel culture isn't the only way the art community is toxic either, and I'd tell you not to get me started on the toxicity that arises from the flawed approach that's being taken towards commentary, but it's too late. I'm started.
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. Oh, now you done it. Now I'm started.
In my previous video, I explained the difference, at least in my opinion, between commentary and drama. And to sum it up, I basically just said that commentary is a very valid and important thing, and that when done right, it's an informative and factual method through which current events and controversies are explained. Drama, on the other hand, approaches those controversies by spreading misinformation, unsubstantiated claims, emotional and biased hot takes, and is usually made with the intention of personally attacking a creator rather than productively criticizing them. My biggest problem with toxicity in the art community right now is that the line between those two things is dangerously blurred. When scandals happen, significantly less than half of the videos or tweets made about them are actually constructive criticisms intended to inform the audience and demand better from the creator. The majority, instead, are created and promoted with the main goal of tearing that creator down. So that should really make us ask ourselves, what are we looking for? Do we really want the creator to do better and learn from their mistakes? Or do we want to be out here preaching the mentality that once you do one thing wrong, you're scum forever and you deserve no chance to grow or change? Because the more we lean towards drama and away from commentary, the more we're telling the creators we criticize that we don't want them to try to improve. We just want them to hurt and to lose what they had forever. I don't know about you guys, but that's not the kind of community that I want to be a part of. To be clear, I'm not talking about creators that are called out for grooming or similarly unforgivable actions. I'm not saying we need to be out here giving people who have done horrific things like that a second chance to grow and change. But that's another problem in and of itself, which is that people are being cancelled for awful things like that with the same vicious ferocity as others are being cancelled for hearsay or significantly less severe matters. When we lose our minds trying to destroy a creator who's just been toxic or misguided or even just involved in a miscommunication, we're putting things like that on the same level as maps and groomers, whether that's our intention or not. Minor mistakes should just straight up not be subject to the same degree of intensity and fury as actual criminal and moral offenses. We need to take a step back and differentiate between the way we treat actual predators and the way we treat creators who have just made mistakes that they can and should be given the chance to learn from. But of course, these aren't the only problems with how the art community has been approaching commentary lately, and both the audience and the creators are to blame for that. I know I've mentioned many times at this point that I can't stand when a million people involve themselves in specific dramas and make videos about them despite not actually having anything to do with what's going on, nor having anything new to contribute. And I've already explained that I have a problem with that just by nature of it being unnecessary and pointless, but I haven't discussed the ways in which these videos can actually be harmful. Even if we put aside the fact that a lot of these videos exist for the sole purpose of clout chasing and throwing people under the bus, these videos still cause problems in that they spread a one-sided narrative in which one correct opinion on the matter is established, not by facts, but by the fact that so many people are saying the same thing. I know I've already said this, but the confirmation bias that this causes to develop results in the actual facts of the situation becoming obscured, and given that it goes without saying that there are two sides to any story, it's obviously very detrimental to have only one side being spread and accepted as the entire story. And to be fair, please know that I'm very aware that a great deal of the people jumping on the drama bandwagon and making videos upon videos about these controversies don't actually mean any harm by it. I completely understand that many people doing this only have the best intentions, and they're either just passionate about the issue and trying to bring light to it and going about it the wrong way, or they don't see the problem with what they're doing and they think they're being helpful, or something similarly well-intentioned. But regardless of the positive motivations behind this trend, the outcome is almost completely negative. And even if they don't mean to, they're using real people and their real problems for entertainment and profit, rather than actually contributing facts and awareness to a situation when that situation has already been covered and addressed by the people who were actually involved. And they're contributing to the community-wide refusal to let even resolved dramas die. And these videos are only made worse by poor research and personal bias. The number of videos that I've watched that claim to be unbiased but open with, "To be clear, I am largely on X's side of this, but," is beyond frustrating. Like within 3 seconds of the video, everything else that's said has instantly been discredited as nothing but personal opinions, and biased ones at that. And if that video was already openly just supposed to reflect opinions, that's one thing. But I've seen this most in videos that claim to be offering an informative recap of the situation. Well, not that it should be news, but if you're taking a side on an issue, you're not offering an informative recap. You're offering your biased interpretation of information and presenting it in a way that supports one side and demonizes another, even if you don't mean to, and that helps no one. Now, my final criticism of the art community's growing toxicity is one that comes with me breaking my #1 rule, which is not mentioning specific creators. But the reason that I am naming this creator directly is because there are no two sides to what she's dealing with. I'm not giving my biased opinion on something that's happening here because what's happening is not a matter of opinion, and I'm talking about Thuman. As an innately privileged white woman, I'm fortunate enough to look at the toxicity in the art community and only see the issues that I've listed so far. I have never had to deal with racism being a contributing factor in that. See, the entirety of this video so far has been about how we handle creators that have actually done something wrong. But Thuman is being attacked relentlessly and cruelly after not having done anything wrong at all. And that's exclusively because she's a black woman that drew herself as an anime character. Yeah, that's it. She's being treated worse than 90% of people who have actually done something wrong. She's had her art defaced and turned into racist caricatures. She's been receiving harassment and racial slurs left and right, and it's all because she had the absolute audacity to draw herself as an anime character. And if I'm gonna make a video about toxicity in the art community full of my opinions on aspects of it, I'm not gonna leave out the one thing that isn't a matter of opinion about that toxicity. So let me just say, there is no justification for this. It is unacceptable and disgusting that racism is still an aspect of toxicity within the art community. It's one thing to discuss the problems with how we handle actual controversies, but there is nothing controversial about what Thuman did. If a white woman drew herself as an anime character, we wouldn't be having this conversation. No one would take offense to that. But in a community where Thuman should have been able to feel just as safe representing herself as a character she likes, she's being attacked for something that white people could do without anyone batting an eye at it simply because she's black. And you can feel free to disagree with any of my other opinions in this video, because there are two sides to every argument and I'm not claiming to be objectively right. But if you think the people sending such revolting messages should be anything less than ashamed and sickened by their own behavior, you're wrong. You're wrong, and there is no arguing to be done about that. And we need to do better than to allow this kind of treatment to continue. If there's one thing that's objectively, completely, inherently toxic about the art community, it's that this talented, beautiful woman can't even draw herself as a character without facing a response like this. If you want to learn more about Thuman's situation, I'll link her video on it in the card above, as well as in the description, because she goes into much more detail and explains that this isn't even the first time she's had to deal with this kind of treatment. People are trying to silence her, tell her not to defend herself, just forget about it, but this is an ongoing problem that she and other POC creators have been dealing with for a long time, and we need to be supporting her and standing with her on this and demanding better from the community, because this is shameful and reprehensible. Anyway, in conclusion, I think that the art community has made its own toxicity abundantly clear over the past few months, and I think that above all else, the awful way that we're treating our own peers with the slightest provocation is something that needs to change. The fact that more videos are still being made about a drama in which the artist in question has apologized and the situation has been resolved really makes me think that we as a community never wanted the resolution to begin with. We just wanted content and entertainment at the expense of everyone involved. We wanted to be angry about it more than we ever wanted to see things change for the better, and we really need to take a step back and examine why that is. And if that's how we want the art community to be, we need to take a long look at the content that we create and consume, and question our motivations between creating and consuming it. Because more often than not, what we're contributing to the state of the art community isn't nearly as positive as we think it is. Alright, this is yet another video that has gone on way longer than I intended it to, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it and found some value in it. It's been disappointing to see the state of the art community lately, but that doesn't mean things can't change for the better, and I hope that in time we do see some positive change. That said, I said that in my last video about this too, and things have only gotten worse since then, so I guess we'll see. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to vote on the Twitter poll linked in the description if you want to say in what I talk about next week. Take care, be kind, and I'll see you in my next video.